Hey there, everybody. Jason Podolin back with another teaching moment from my most recent episode of the Up My Hockey podcast. And it was episode 82 with Jared Bednar. Super grateful to have Jared on, head coach of the NHL's best team right now, the Colorado Avalanche. And we were able to discuss a lot of things, but this one is about the player toolbox. And as you know, I want players to be the best they can be, and I want them to reach the heights that they want to get to. And oftentimes, this is another under-recognized or underutilized philosophy, and that is filling your toolbox full of tools. The more tools you have, the more ways you can impact a team, the more roles you are able to play, and it can either keep you in the league, get you in the league, or get you out of the league. So let's listen to what Jared Bednar has to say about the toolbox and why it's so important for players everywhere. Yeah, it's so exciting. And I just love the fact that, even though I trumpet what you just said, like that 200-foot player, it's actually been what I've been talking about and compete. Like I've been talking about the value of that, to a team anywhere, whether you're a junior player or a minor hockey player or an NHL player. And who does the Colorado Avalanche, the best team in the NHL, bring in? They bring in those guys, those pieces. Right? Those pieces that are valuable and maybe don't get the headlines all the time, right? Or don't get in the 3-star selections all the time, but you know about these guys. Joe knows about these guys, right? They're pieces that are definitely needed. So just because I know my audience is a bit younger and these guys are coming up and everybody wants to be the power play specialist and the star forward, but the sooner you can learn your identity as a player and just really love it and own it, especially in that 200-foot capacity, like you can play almost anywhere. Isn't that true?
That's totally true. And that's where, like, I'll go back to Tyson Jost on that. Like, he came in, almost every guy you have on your team in the NHL was their team's best player, leading scorer, power play, half wall guy, whatever it is, right? And Tyson was no different. And he came in, so you give him the opportunity. Those young guys come in, they make your team, and you're going to give them every opportunity to see if these guys can do it. Now, we've got some superstars on our team, right? So the first power play fills up, but Tyson Jost was a part of that for a year and a half. Then he went to the second power play, and our team gets better and better, and we get more skilled, and guys that are just, have made a career at putting pucks in the net and filling those roles, and he kind of gets pushed down the lineup a little bit. Well, what does he do? He doesn't sulk or start whining or complaining about it. He just wants to know what can I do to help our team win. Next thing you know, he's third line center, killing penalties, like doing all the things, just and really paying attention to it, like coming in for video and looking at the defensive side of the game and still like working on his offensive output. I mean, and that's what you have to do. You gotta be adding tools to your toolbox because your roster changes every year. And yeah, some guys keep doing the same thing year after year, but sometimes, you get additions in and you just don't slot right in where you thought you might or where you have your whole life. So now there's a learning curve there,
Yeah.
players have to do that. And I mean, we have a lot of guys that can play the power play, but at the end of the day, there's only 10 spots, and 5 of those spots are only seeing 30 seconds for each power play. You know what I mean? So that's where the points come. So you got to try and make sure the rest of your game is solid. And that for me starts with the defending details and your commitment to check.
So there you have it. He uses Tyson Yost as an example. He was a 10th overall draft pick. 10th best 17-year-old hockey player in the world. And he is now a third-line center, or was a third-line center for the Colorado Avalanche. That's not to say that he couldn't be a power play guy somewhere else. The Colorado Avalanche is an amazing hockey team. But he had to learn how to check really well. He had to learn how to do the PK. He had to learn how to take faceoffs and win those crucial draws in his own zone. These were all ways that he had to adapt his game to stay relevant because he wasn't going to be a top 3 forward on the Colorado Avalanche, even though he was an amazing scorer at the junior level. He led the BCHL in points, an amazing league as a 17-year-old. He went 10th overall. 10th best 17-year-old in the world. Offensive talent, lots of it. But he still needed to adapt his game. He needed to fill his toolbox with new skills that allowed him to stay relevant and still allows him to stay relevant. Now, he can definitely grow out of that role. Now he's with the Minnesota Wild. Perhaps he's going to get more opportunities on the power play, and he's going to get back to the player that he was as a junior and when he was drafted 10th overall. But the story here and the secret is like you work on this stuff before you are asked to do it. You can be a great half wall power play guy. You can be a great offensive threat for your team, but be very, very curious about how to be better defensively, how to win your faceoffs, how to stay on the defensive side of the puck in the defensive zone, how to be a PK specialist, how to get the puck off the half wall. All the little things you might not be thinking about right now if you're one of the best players in your team and somebody's scoring goals and scoring assists all the time. Rounding your game out, filling that toolbox is going to benefit you because very rarely are you able to just take the step on your hockey ascension and fill the exact same role that you've played from minor hockey all the way up. You need to be diverse, you need to be adaptable. And sometimes trying to figure it out on the fly is a very hard way to do it. And that's why you see players go up and down, up and down, up and down, and sometimes not make it at all. So yes, fill your toolbox, be a diverse player. Take pride in your defensive game. You never know when you're going to be asked to do it. And if you can fill that role, you can always grow in to the other one.